Hello and welcome to the Down Under Visa Philippines to Australia podcast. This is Jeff Harvey, registered migration agent with Down Under Visa here in Manila, Philippines. Now, you may or may not have heard about us, but we are registered migration agents, Australian registered migration agents based here in Philippines, and we specialise in doing visas for Australian Filipino couples. So no work visas, no student visas, no rich man investor visas or anything like that. We just specialise in those visas which allow Australian Filipino couples to get together either temporarily or permanently when they're looking at a partner visa. Now, we have a website which is www.downundervisa.com.au. On that we have a blog page, and we have regular articles which are about visas from Philippines to Australia, also articles about life in the Philippines and about cross-cultural relationship issues which would be of significance to Australian Filipino couples just like ourselves. So, now what we do and what we'll do today and what we do on every podcast is that I pick one of our articles from the blog page. There's, I think, over 700 articles now, which will be on some aspect of Australian visas, as I said, and I will read through that and I will elaborate on that and ad-lib to provide some additional information which you should find interesting and beneficial. Okay, today's podcast topic: bridging visas for Filipinos in Australia. How do I apply for one? Which is a bit of a trick question, which you'll soon find out, crafty little devil that I am. Okay, I was going to apply for a bridging visa. Common statement we hear, or clients will ask if they can just apply for a bridging visa instead of a partner visa because it appears simpler and cheaper. Or the indecisive who are not ready to marry will also think they can get themselves a bridging visa for a while until they're ready to take the plunge with a bridging visa. I think I could say categorically that the bridging visa is the most misunderstood of all Australian visas. Now, how to apply for a bridging visa? Guess what? You can't. Now, you don't have the money to apply for a partner visa, or you're not ready to apply, or not ready to marry yet, or you simply can't decide what you want to do. Is a bridging visa an option for you? No, it is not. And there is no such thing as a standalone bridging visa that you can apply for. Simple as that. That's not what bridging visas are for. And if you want to remain in Australia, you need to get back on track quickly. And this is precisely the reason why migration professionals, in other words, registered migration agents, exist. It can be very confusing. Don't feel you're stupid because you don't get it, but perfectly intelligent people don't get it. It's a complicated area. Over the years, I have done quite a number of visas for lawyers who've come to us they need visas for their own partners, and they're smart enough to know to go to an expert, because it's not just a case of knowing the rules. It's about understanding the workings behind the rules and the general culture of the whole thing, which is why specialists exist. So it can be very confusing, and as I said, otherwise perfectly intelligent people can get on the wrong track, and that can cause major disruption in lives. This is especially so when you have an Australian Filipino couple who just want to be together and get on with their lives. So, what is a bridging visa? Okay, we've already hopefully established that it's not a great option to applying for the visa you've been putting off, and that you don't go off and apply for one, right? Now, a bridging visa is in fact a bridge between two visas. You come to the cliff of your current visa coming to an end, and you don't want to beat a hasty retreat to the airport or to leave the country in a hurry, but right now you don't have another visa because that new visa you applied for hasn't been granted yet. It's off in the distance somewhere. Now, if you have a look on the actual article itself, you'll see a cartoon picture which demonstrates it very, very well. I've got a great cartoonist. Now, you want to remain in Australia, but no one with any intelligence wants to be unlawfully in Australia. Now, unlawful is visa speak for being illegal, as the Americans call it. Being in Australia without a visa is bad news. You could get that thump on the door in the middle of the night, handcuffs, and carted off to the detention centre and then on a plane back to the Philippines. Now, a bridging visa, this is its purpose. It's designed for keeping you lawfully in Australia. Now, you get to remain while the other visa is being processed, and you are therefore in no danger of being deported. If there are issues with the visa processing, and it took 2 years for the new visa application to be processed, horror of horrors, the visa applicant can actually remain in Australia on that bridging visa during those 2 years. So hopefully, yes, you get it, and hopefully the next person who asks me to apply for a bridging visa for them, hopefully it won't be you. So, how to get a bridging visa? What are my requirements? Okay, there are a few essential factors in getting a bridging visa. Now take these away and you won't get one. Now, firstly, you are inside Australia. Yes, you must be inside Australia. If you're in the Philippines at this point, you won't get one. You will not get a bridging visa if you are offshore, which means outside Australia. You are applying for an onshore Australian visa. In other words, a visa lodged inside Australia. There are no bridging visas associated with offshore visas. If you apply for an offshore partner visa or a prospective marriage visa, which is an offshore visa, there is no such thing as an onshore prospective marriage visa. We get asked that one regularly. So you've applied for those ones through the Australian Embassy in Manila, then forget about bridging visas. They don't exist. Okay? You apply for an offshore visa, you wait offshore while that visa is being processed. Now, you must have already lodged a valid new visa application. Now, valid means lodged correctly. Basically, you used the correct form, you paid the visa application charge, in other words, the fee, you lodged it the right way and in the right place, and you were in the right place, in other words, not back in Manila. Okay, so application was lodged in the right place, applicant was in the right place. Okay, you cannot lodge a visa in Australia if you are not in Australia with it, where the application is being lodged. And sensibly, you would want to have done the things you needed to do, or this would be a pointless exercise. If it's an offshore partner visa and you're not married yet, or already in a de facto relationship for the right length of time, then they will refuse the application as soon as they realise this. So apply some common sense. Do not think, oh good, I've got the application in, I've put nothing there, I've put no documents at all, but I've lodged it, I've got my bridging visa, okay, I'm fine. Yeah, you'll get the bridging visa, but then the application will get refused, so what's the point? And whilst there are a few complicated exceptions to this rule, you should absolutely ensure that you are lawfully in Australia when you apply for the next visa. Don't wait until the current visa runs out. Okay, so in summary, a bridging visa is a bridge between two visas, nothing more. Now, you're still a bit in limbo, but it stops you falling off the immigration cliff and having to leave the country, or being in any danger of being locked up or deported. So yeah, and when you apply for something like an onshore partner visa, with a bridging visa, you get to work and study, and you get to live a pretty good life with very few limitations. It's a pretty fair system, really, I have to say. But no, it's not something you apply for, and it's not an easy option. Look, especially when it comes to partner visas, you must not, cannot, should not try to apply for a partner visa if you are not committed yet. If you are enjoying the lady's company and you want her to remain in Australia with you, you need to be committed in a committed relationship at that particular point, or you are lodging the wrong type of visa. If you're not committed, well then you apply for further tourist visas and you wait until you are. And the other thing, I just said this to somebody just yesterday, seemed to be desperately wanting the lady to remain in Australia, but saying, he wasn't sure when he wanted to get married. I'm not making fun of him here if he happens to hear this. I pointed out to him, I said, maybe you're a bit more committed than you actually think you are, because it looks like you can't stand the idea of being apart from her now. If that's not a sign of a bit of a hint of possibly being commitment there, well, I don't know what is. Men getting cold feet, it's not such an unusual scenario, so you want to consider that one. Think very carefully again if you are committed. But if you're not committed, it's the wrong thing. Okay, and a bridging visa is not something you can put in place while you have a good think about what you want. You should have worked that one out beforehand. That's how it works. Okay, so if you want to ensure you don't get horribly confused and go down the wrong track, use a professional, which means a registered migration agent who deals, well, exclusively or does a lot of applications with Australian Filipino couples just like yourself. Now, if you go to our website, which once again is www.downundervisa.com.au, you will see a free online visa assessment form. Take you about 5 minutes. We can assess your case for you and we can tell you if we can help you. While you're there, have a look on our blog page. You'll see a lot of very, very interesting articles there, and on the main page itself, you'll see what I believe is it's the best website that you're going to see with information about Australian visas for Australian Filipino couples. So read over the pages, look at the FAQs, and you'll find most of your questions will get answered there. Okay, well, thank you very much, and we hope to talk to you again on the next podcast. Thank you, and bye-bye.